everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something I think we've all felt, that crazy energy crash, or that bit of brain fog that hits you after a meal. We're going to get into why that happens and how a really simple idea called the glycemic index can help you get a handle on it. So, have you ever eaten a lunch that you thought was super healthy, right? And then an hour later, you just feel totally sluggish and ready for a nap? You're not alone. It's an incredibly common feeling. And a lot of the time, it all comes down to a hidden culprit, a big spike and then a crash in your blood sugar. So let's pull back the curtain on this sneaky sugar spike. We're going to take a look at the chain reaction that's happening inside your body right after you eat, especially when you're eating certain kinds of carbs. And this is a really big deal, you know. For so many of us, this whole process is happening completely under the radar, with pretty much every meal we eat. So understanding these spikes and knowing how to manage them, it's not just crucial for your energy during the day, it's also huge for your long-term health and for preventing issues like insulin resistance. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to start with the basics. Let's actually trace the journey of a carbohydrate, all the way from your plate to deep inside your cells. It's actually a pretty amazing process our bodies do without us even thinking about it. It's really just a simple four-step dance. Okay, so first you eat some carbs, bread, pasta, fruit, even potatoes. Then your digestive system gets right to work, breaking all of that down into its simplest form, which is glucose. That's just sugar. Step 3, that glucose enters your bloodstream. And that's the signal, it's the alarm bell, for your pancreas to release a hormone called insulin. Okay, now this is where things get really, really interesting. Because here's the thing, not all carbs are created equal. Some of them cause this huge, fast flood of sugar into your blood, while others create more of a slow, gentle trickle. And this is where the glycemic index, or GI for short, comes in. It's basically the tool we use to tell all these carbs apart. The easiest way to think about the glycemic index is like a speedometer, but for sugar. Foods that have a high GI number, they're like a race car. They dump glucose into your bloodstream super, super fast. But foods with a low GI number are more like a steady walk. They release it slowly, gradually, over time. And what's wild is how two foods that seem so similar can have totally different effects on your body. Take a regular baked white potato. It's got a high GI, which means it hits your bloodstream fast. But a sweet potato, it has a much lower GI, so it leads to a much more gentle rise in blood sugar. They're in the same food family, but their impact is completely different. And this visual just shows it perfectly. That high GI food creates that sharp peak, that fast spike, which, by the way, is almost always followed by a really fast crash. That's where the tiredness comes from. The low GI food, though, that gives you that much smoother, more sustained energy curve. That's the feeling we're all after. Okay, so we've mentioned insulin a couple of times now. It's time to put a spotlight on this incredibly important hormone. I want you to think of it as the gatekeeper for all of your body's cells. Honestly, this is the best analogy for it. After you eat, you've got all this glucose just floating around in your blood, ready to be used as fuel. But here's the catch. It can't get into your cells by itself. Insulin is the key. It literally unlocks the doors to your cells so that glucose can get inside and be turned into energy. Now, the problem starts when we are constantly hitting our system with high GI foods. Your pancreas has to work overtime, pumping out tons and tons of insulin. And after a while, your cells can actually start to ignore the signal. It's like the locks on the doors get all rusty and the key doesn't work as well. That is insulin resistance, and it means sugar gets stuck out in the bloodstream, which, down the line, can lead to some pretty serious health problems. Okay, enough about the problem, right? Let's get into the solutions, because the good news is there are really simple, practical things you can start doing every single day to help smooth out those spikes and just support your body's natural balance. So how do we do it? Well, first, try choosing whole grains instead of white flour. Here's a great rule. Never eat a carb all by itself. Always pair it with some protein or healthy fat. That slows down digestion. Try to add fiber-rich foods like beans or veggies to every meal. And you want to know one of the best hacks? A simple 10-minute walk after you eat. It works wonders, seriously. And of course, drink plenty of water. If you remember just one thing from all these tips, let it be this one. Fiber is your blood sugar's absolute best friend. See, fiber is a type of carb your body can't actually digest, so it doesn't raise blood sugar at all. Instead, it slows down how fast you absorb other sugars, basically acting like a brake on that post-meal spike. It's a total superhero. All right, as we start to wrap this up, I really want to leave you with the most important message of this whole explainer. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. This is all about making small, smart choices consistently. That's it. And here is a super practical number to just tuck away in your brain. When you're looking up foods, anything with a glycemic index score of 55 or below, that's generally considered a low GI food. It's just a simple benchmark you can use to start making some easy swaps. And please, remember, the goal here is not perfection. Nobody's perfect. The goal is progress. Just focus on making one small choice, one healthy swap at a time. That is how real, lasting change happens. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. What's one tiny food swap you could make today? Could you maybe switch from white rice to brown rice? Grab an apple instead of a banana? Or maybe just add a handful of almonds to your breakfast. Just think about one simple thing you can try. And finally, a very important reminder for all of us. This is all for educational purposes. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please always talk to a qualified healthcare professional about any health concerns or before you make any big changes to your diet. Thanks so much for tuning in.